Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Lisa's Love and Light. Thank you all for being here today. Happy Thursday. I hope you all had a good day and things are going well. Thank you all for being here. I appreciate your support and I appreciate seeing you guys and hearing your comments and looking forward to being on this channel to share. Remember, for those who are new to being here, uh, this channel is to uplift and to help other people, encourage, uplift, and we don't tolerate any judgment here. This is a no judgment zone. Now, also, I am not a therapist. I don't have a certification as a social worker or a degree in that category. I am someone who is sharing all of the um, pain and grief and trauma that I've gone through. And I talk about some ways that I'm healing and getting through it and growing and evolving because of the work that I've done on this journey to heal. And, I always emphasize the importance of healing. It's very important. And instead of being in a place of being stagnated and stuck, we want to be at peace as we heal and not in pieces. So I hope everyone had a good day. Also, it's been a really busy day to me, for me, rather. Um, I was talking with someone earlier today, and what I'm realizing, because sometimes I think about these burdens and pain and all this stuff that I've gone through. Sometimes I sit and think about why me and why I had to go through A, B, C, and D, right? Because my life has not been easy at all. And I was going through something really difficult at some point, really more irritating than anything else. And I was sharing something with someone earlier, and to my surprise, she was telling me that she had at one time in her life went through a similar situation, and she told me how she got through it, and I really appreciate her for that because when someone has walked in your shoes or gone through similar experiences, negative experiences, um, as yourself, and they talk to you about it, sometimes you learn new ways of how to get through something. And I really appreciate hearing her experience and how she got through it, which really propelled me to keep moving forward on this path to heal. This is so important because if I don't heal, I would stay stuck and stagnated, and it's not a place I want to be at. So, with that being said, I'm moving forward to talk about the topic of discussion that's on the table today. It's a long one. The topic of discussion, I have notes here today. It is difficult to heal when you are ego tripping. When somebody's in a place of pride, and ego and those toxic ways and toxicity, it's very difficult to heal pain and grief and everything. It really is when you are stuck in that place, and it makes it difficult to heal when you're in that place of pain and ego tripping. What I can say, um, a good communicator will have the concern. Let me say it like this because I have notes so I don't forget things. A good communicator will hear the concerns and suggestions of others instead of feeding their ego. So a good, you know, communicator will listen, hear the concerns of others without jumping to conclusions and without allowing their ego to take over. And that's the beginning of the healing journey. You know when you start to heal, as you start to do the work, because certain things that bothered you in the past that upset you, you become unbothered by it. For me, I become unbothered by it as I grow, heal, and evolve. Um, Many relationships, business or otherwise, will fall apart due to somebody's ego, because they're not trying to hear what you got to say. They just stuck where they are. You do it my way, you do what I tell you, and that's the end of it. And that could be in a business setting, a personal relationship, or in a family environment. And having that kind of attitude, being in that ego, it doesn't resolve problems. It's just add to your plate of toxicity. A huge ego will cause an individual to look to actually a huge ego will cause a person to lose out on various opportunities and situations because they are stuck in that ego. Do it my way. And people who feel entitled to things, they can't. It's hard for somebody who is in that type of situation to grow and to heal. Healing requires that we break down our life and that we look in the mirror at ourselves. And it requires, more importantly, that we go within. We go within to see what's broken within us. And we have to delve deep within ourselves to see what's broken. And then once we see what's broken, we can come up with ways to fix it. And all of this is part of the healing factor. And that's very difficult to do. I had to do that. I had to look at myself and to see, why was I being subservient to people? Why, when people would snap their fingers, I come running. They call me 24/7. I'm answering and jumping and skipping and hopping through hoops. And I've done that the first half of my life, and I look back, and as I look into why I did that, why I was doing this, is because I came from a family where I talked about in yesterday's video about being a black sheep. And I never felt like I could measure up because I was always different from everybody else within my family. While, my siblings were out partying and doing other things, I was reading books, watching television shows, spending a lot of time alone. I had friends at some point, but not like the family. I was even told one time, it was said to me more than once by an uncle, you don't behave like us. Maybe you're adopted or something because you don't act like this family. And I have always felt like an outsider. So I try to measure up in some ways by just being subservient. Anybody call me, they need something. Okay, I'm going to help you. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that, blah, 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 and I never measured up. I never fit in. It's like putting your foot in a pair of shoes that don't fit, but you're twisting your foot inside and out. And no matter what you do, the shoe will never fit. And that's the experience that I had as a black sheep of the family, being part of a cult-like organization that I could never measure up to because I was always asking questions that could not be answered, always getting in trouble for having friends outside of the organization, for being subservient to other people, for being myself, and for helping other people, always trying to horsewhip me into submission. And I put up with that for a very long time because I did not feel like I measured up. And it took a lot for me to go within, deep within, to look at myself to see why I was doing these things. And in relationships, why am I letting this person do this to me? Why am I allowing a person to take advantage of me? Why am I letting it slide time and time again, over and over again? And I had to look deep within myself, and it wasn't easy. It was a lot of pain. It was a lot of being alone, a lot of going to God in prayer, asking God to help me to feel, significant. Because for so long, I felt so insignificant, less than zero, because that's how I was treated all my life with family members, because I was the black sheep. because I didn't measure up to, in their eyes, to what they were doing. I was always outcasted because I was different, and I walked and to a different beat of the drum than they did. So I was looked upon differently. And once I started to realize this is why I was doing the things I was doing, I had to now see this within myself and change it for the better. And I had to do a lot of work, a lot of searching, a lot of crying, a lot of pain, and to realize that I was worth it. I didn't have to put up with that. So what? I'm different than the rest of them. It didn't mean that I was less than zero or insignificant as I used to think. And I had to heal that, heal it. And it wasn't easy. It was a lot of pain and work, you know, because healing requires to break down the pain and see why the pain is happening because of the brokenness that I felt inside, and putting the pieces together, like a Humpty Dumpty fell off the wall and fell into pieces, putting it all back together again, patching it up so that I can be whole again. And that wasn't easy. And I know I had to do the work because otherwise I was going to stay in a place of brokenness and stagnated for the rest of my life, not able to grow and evolve. And I wasn't having it. I had lost too much, been through too much. Now it was time to grow, heal, evolve, and ego tripping has never been my thing, you know. Humility and being honest with myself was always the key factor. Being honest with me, seeing what the truth is, seeing behind the mask, and to ask myself questions. Why am I allowing people to do this to me? And then once I realized why, then I started working hard on myself, spending a lot of time in prayer with God and spending time alone and, just doing things differently, changing my mindset to a different perspective to see things differently. Telling people no was my hardest lesson to learn because we all are here to learn lessons. Telling people no, I'm busy. I can't do it. No. And then as I start to do that, people start to feel some kind of way. That's not my problem. And it used to be to the point that people would just show up at my front door without being invited, without, just showing up. And I was so in a place of being disconnected from who I was that I was allowing it. Then as I start to do the work, I'm like, this is not okay. And people start to feel some kind of way because they have been doing this for far too long because I allowed it. People do what you allow, but when you take back your power, they can't do this anymore. And I had to get firm and say, look, this is not happening. And then people start to drop out of my life because I start to make these positive changes and, flip the script, so to speak, because I am not dealing with toxicity anymore. You can't get on the bandwagon, the hill, and you still allowing toxicity to come in because it's going to it's not going to work. It's just not going to work when you're on the bandwagon, the hill, and you still allowing toxic situation and individuals in. It's going to keep you in a place of being stuck and stagnated. And that's what I did not want for my life. It took me a while to learn, although I never had a big ego. I had a hard time with letting go the resentment that built up because people doing me wrong, because before I couldn't really talk about it as I do today, because I'm going to tell you today how I feel. It doesn't matter. We're going to have the conversation and, we're going to break it down one way or the other. And sometimes the resolution is a person leaving your life. And that's okay too. In the beginning, it was hard. I would sit in the corner and cry about it. But then when I started to do the work, as my therapist said, do a pro and con list. What was these people adding to my life? They were subtracting from it more so than adding anything positive. So as I learned that and changed my mindset, then I started letting people go, cut off, block, and delete, because I'm not having it anymore. And as I start to grow and heal, I start to self-love and self-care. And this is what I wasn't doing before, because I was so busy being subservient to other people that I wasn't taking care of me. I was falling apart, and nobody seems to give a damn about it because they just wanted me to focus on them. So I had to learn to change my mindset and to redirect the focus to me. I'm important. I matter. And that's what I'm encouraging people to do who who want to get on a bandwagon to heal. Redirect the focus on you. You're a priority because your physical and mental health means everything. And if you don't take care of that, that will fall apart. And then you can't take care of yourself or anybody or anything around you. So it's important. It's a must to take care of you. You matter. Your physical, mental health is everything, people. Don't let anybody else tell you that it's not. And as I start to do this, I start to feel better. You feel better, you do better. And the resentment that built up, I learned to let go and let God. And as I start to lean more on God and less on people, I start to stay in prayer and I start to just, let these resentments go and let these people go and let God deal with it. When I learned to do this, my life changed for the better, and I just let people go, and just go your merry way. I don't have to be resentful. I don't have to have an attitude, the silent treatment, all these things that I was engaging in before, because that's how I grew up. That's what we were taught, and what goes on in this house stays in this house. So if it stays in this house and we're being silent, we're not growing, we're not healing, we're not evolving. In order to heal, you got to address these situations head on. Otherwise, you stay stuck in them and you can't grow, and you stay stuck in the pain as well. And I had to learn this, changing my mindset for the better. Once I let go of it, I moved on from it. Leave people where they are. If they don't want to grow and evolve, that's their choice. We all have a choice in everything that we do in life. Don't let people tell you you don't. You have a choice, And if they don't, then I leave them where they are, because I don't want the toxicity in my life, because then it keeps me stuck, and I'm not going to be stuck. So I leave people where they are and I move on. And what I've been learning is that new beginnings, with a new, the way I do things today, new beginnings, And there's a saying, make people respect you. Someone showing up at your front door without your permission, without you inviting them. For me, I'm going to tell you what I do now, because I had a situation like that in the past. And I told the person not to do that anymore and blah, blah. But the least I am today, I am only going to tell you that once, and you do it and you keep doing that, I will call the police, because I'm not playing with people, because it's disrespectful. And I wouldn't do it to somebody else. People do what you allow them to do. You allow them to keep doing stuff, they're going to keep doing it, And me, I don't have to get out of character and, all this profanity and loudness and craziness. I'm just going to tell you and have those conversations. If you keep disrespecting, you're going to see the results of what I'm, going to do. Cops will be called, restraining orders, the gang stalking, the following, all this stuff, because I have cut you out of my life. Guess what? PI is on it. Police is on it. People are on it. And then whatever happens, happens, But because I am not going to get off this path of healing, I went through a lot. I lost a lot, and I had to learn. We are all here to learn lessons, people. People come into your life in situations for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. And I'm going to add for a lesson, because sometimes we don't learn lessons, and then that will spin again, and then the lesson come back in a different shape or form. And we have to learn. If we don't, it's going to be worse each time the lesson come around, and the situation will get worse. So I prefer to learn it as quickly as I can so that I can move on and I don't have to repeat those lessons again. That's important. And it's important to, just self heal, because as you self heal, you self care. You start to see things from a different perspective and mindset. And then I become unbothered by the gossip and the lies and all this stuff, because as I learned what people were doing behind the scenes and got confirmation of it, I started to release people, let them go, and tell God what I want in my life, and transmute the negative energy, the toxicity, the lies, all of that. Give it to God. And when God see that your intentions are pure, you're not behind the scenes hurting people, setting people up for failure, doing the most and the worst, he will come through for you. And I can tell many stories about how God has come through for me because of it, because of taking this negative toxicity and energy and transmuting it and giving it to him, because he's not going to let me have more than what I can bear. And I have experienced that time and time again. But this is a lot of work. But one of the steps that I would suggest to people is to start with therapy, because that's how I started out, with therapy. Weekly therapy. You don't have to sit in the office. You can actually see a therapist by Zoom. But get on a bandwagon and take one step at a day, one time, one step at a day, one day at a time, and don't beat yourself up so much. Make a list, of what you want to accomplish, and put it somewhere so you can see it every day. When you get up in the morning, tell yourself you're worth it. You are just as worth it as anybody else. You are important. You matter. And as you continue to tell yourself this and work towards healing, you will start to see the results. It may not be tomorrow or next week, but I promise you, as you continue to persevere and bite through the pain and or everything else, you will start to see the results. And as you release the toxicity from your life, you start to feel better. As you feel better, you do better. And what I learned to do is take this pain and turn it into power into a purpose to help other people so that they can do better. And then they can get on a bandwagon of healing, and they can be a testimony and example to other people out here who really are losing hope and despair. People need to hear these messages, because not everybody is freely and openly talking about their pain and their grief and etc. But if they can come on these channels like this and hear positive, uplifting stories, true stories, they can do it too, even though it's not easy. Nothing ventured is nothing gained. That is the message today, guys. I didn't want to make it too long for you, but I wanted to get this message out today. Humility is important, because the grace of God he gives to us all the time. He doesn't have to. And we need to extend that to each other out there to help each other so we can grow, evolve, and we can be the best version of ourselves. Because as I said before, life is a lesson, and we need to learn these lessons so that we can grow and move on. Thank you for being here today. I'll be back tomorrow. Please keep in mind that I can never give a time frame, but hit that subscribe button so that you can get a notification when I'm on, so that you can join me, or you can watch later. But always share these videos with other people who need to hear the message, because we want to save people and help them so that they can be here and grow and be an example as well. Thank you again. This is Lisa, shedding love and light. Have a good evening, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye for now.